Hello everyone and welcome you all to this video lecture series of software engineering. I am Dr. C.S. Raghuvanshi, Professor, Department of Computer Science, FET, Rama University. Today we are about to start video lecture series of software engineering. As you understand, every student who are doing their graduation and post-graduation in computer science want to become software engineering, and everyone want to develop software, and everyone is very keen to learn what the technology, what the programming language, what the database software and what other skills need to become successful as a software engineer. So everyone want to learn some programming language like C, C++, Java, .NET and Python, and also learn some database technology like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL and others. And every student also learn some additional designing software and reporting tool also to become successful as a software engineer. But no student think about the methods, what the right method of developing the software, because 98% software are subject to fail. Only 2% software are successful after developing. So this is a big difference between the software success and software failures. But no students think about to fill this gap. What the reasons behind the failure of software, and how we can fill this gap so that our percentage of software success become more than to the percentage of software failures. So student, in this video lecture series, we will discuss in detail about the one of the most important subject, that is software engineering. In this software, I will not teach you what the programming language you should learn, what the database technology you should learn, what the reporting software you should learn, what the designing tool you should learn for developing the software. But instead of this, we will discuss and we will learn and we will focus the right approach of software development. So student, before going in depth about the methods, about the scientific approach of software development, we will just discuss in brief what the software is. Because majority of the students who are doing their graduation think software as a program. But software is more than that. Program is simply executable code written for a specific purpose. For example, I am giving you some example, writing a program for calculating the arithmetic operations of a given numbers. Write a program for calculating the simple interest or compound interest, or write a program for calculating some scientific operations. But the program is simply executable code, but the software is more than that. So you should understand what the actual means of software. According to IEEE, software is a collection or is composed of program code and associate library and documentation. Students, yeah, it is true. Software you can understand as a program, but you should understand the program with libraries and the documentation is software. What the means of libraries and what the means of documentation, you should understand. Student, program code is simply the thing that we write in any specific programming language to tell the computer what actually we want to perform. But the libraries, students, in nowadays there are a lot of programming code is already written and stored in a program libraries. And for doing something, there is no need to write the code. We can take help, we can take references from the library. So what we should do in the software, we should include those library also from where we are taking the program, from where we are taking the code in and including the codes in our software. And documentation means what? We understand software development is not only writing the code but also we should explain कि what code we are writing for the what purpose. It is clear you are writing code, but it's your responsibility, it's also your responsibility. You should make some comments, you should write some remarks so that any other developer, any other person can understand कि you have written this code for the what purpose. What's the meaning of writing this code? You should explain in detail, and this type of writing the comments and remarks is known as the documentation. So software is simply a combination or collection of or composition of program code, associate library, and student the documentation. Now we come to the engineering. What the engineering is? We are very much clear about what the software is. Software is more than that the program. It also composes some associate libraries and the documentation. But now we come to the point engineering. What the engineering is? Students, in this subject domain, we will not learn about the technique that we need, about the programming language that we should learn for writing the software. Instead of this, we will learn the right approach of developing the software. And what the right approach? This is the engineering approach. So understand, in this subject domain, we will learn engineering approach of software development. Now you should ask, what the means of engineering approach? I am telling. Engineering approach is a systematic, scientific, proven techniques, or you can say the quantifiable technique of developing a product. Here, the product is our software. So the scientific, disciplined, and quantifiable approach of developing a software is known as the software engineering. So we are very much clear. What about the software engineering? The scientific approach, scientific proven and quantifiable and disciplined approach of developing the software is known as the software engineering. According to IEEE, what IEEE is saying about the software engineering? The application of a systematic, disciplined, quantifiable approach to the development, operation and maintenance of software. Student, you should clear about software engineering is not only concerned about the development. It also concerned about the operation and the maintenance. You should understand, you should clear in your mind, you should keep in your mind that software engineering is not only the part of developing the software, is not concerned only the developing the software. It also concerned about the operations or the maintenance of the software also. So we are very much clear now what the program is. Program is simply a set of instructions written to perform a specific task, and the software is more than that. It composes program files, library files, and the documentation. And we are clear about what the means of engineering approach. We are clear this is a systematic, quantifiable approach. And finally, we conclude software engineering is a systematic, quantifiable and disciplined approach for developing a software, is software engineering. Now, we will discuss in detail what the need of learning this software engineering, what the necessity of software engineering, and what the reasons. So students should pay great attention about learning the engineering approach of developing the software. So the main reason, or before going in depth about the reasoning of learning this subject, we will discuss one of the most important terms, that is software crisis. So what the software crisis is, we will discuss. Student, by this term we means the chances of software failure is much more than to the chances of software success. There is a big gap between the success and the failure of software. And this gap is known as the software crisis. And by this subject, or by studying this subject, we try our best to overcome this gap, to fill this gap. Now we will discuss about what the reasons behind the software crisis. The most crucial reason behind the software crisis is the software requirements is very dynamic. It always subject to change. Suppose at the time of taking the order of software, the requirement we are collecting from the customer is changed at the time of delivering the software. What I am saying, suppose at the time of signing the software order, the customer is giving the requirement. We are asking about this functionality, about the software requirements. But at the time of delivering the software, we are asking to customer, please check whether the software is working according to your expectation or not. But the customers in general say, sir, our requirement is changed little bit, so your software is not working according to that, so please make it change. So this is the biggest reason behind the software failure, or you can say the software crisis. Customer requirement is always subject to change. So we should take some measures. We should take some initiative so that we can timely incorporate the change requirement of the customer. And what the another reason of software crisis? I am telling you. The reason is that during our academics, the students are bothered about learning the programming language. Students are focused only to learning the database technology, the tools and application needed to make the software. Students never ever think about what the right approach, what the right methods we should use for developing the software. He always think about what programming language we should use, what the database we should use, what the reporting tool we should use, what the designing tools we should use, but he or she never think about the methodology or the techniques or the engineering approach for developing the software. So we can say this is the biggest reason behind the software failure or software crisis. Students are not skilled in selecting the right method of developing the software. The next and the another reason behind the software failure or the software crisis I am telling is students are trained to develop some small type of software, and students are learn to develop very simple type of and very normal type of small software, and he is never ever think about to develop large and the complex type of software. But in the industry, the scenario is completely changed. In the industry, students are supposed to develop some big or large software where complexity is a big thing. But he or she is never ever experienced about making large and the complex software. And the method successful for developing the small and simple software are not adequate for developing the large and the complex software. So this is another reason behind the software failure. And another reason, the employees are not proper skilled, are not proper trained about the software engineering or about the methodology, about the approach, about the method of developing the software. These are the some reasons behind the software crisis or software failure. But in this subject, student, we will try to learn about the right approach, or we can say the engineering approach of developing the software. So during this video lecture series, we will discuss in detail about the scientific or engineering approach of software development. One more thing we will discuss in the lecture, what are the software quality means, what the software quality means, and what parameter we should consider at the time of measuring the software quality. And these software quality parameters are also considered as a software characteristics, or we can say the characteristics of a good software. So in the next lecture, we will discuss in detail about what are the parameters of software to count it as a good quality software, and what are the quality parameter of software, and what are the characteristics of a good software we will discuss in our next class. So this is for today's. About what we have discussed, I recap. First, we have discussed about what the program is, what the means of software, what the means of engineering approach, and what is software engineering, and we discussed about software crisis, or what are the reasons of software failures, and what is the need and why we are learning this subject of software engineering. So we have discussed in detail about the necessity and need of learning this subject, software engineering. Thank you, student. Thank you very much. And we will see in the next class with the software characteristics, and we will discuss about software development life cycle. Thank you. Thank you very much.